Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Fat Loss Basics. Hope you're doing good. What a weekend. Hope everybody survived their Mother's Day. I know I certainly did. I loved it, and got a great little gift from the kiddos, and spent some time with the family. Husband was home for the day and gone again on what we call a burn and turn here in the military world, but doing okay. So we're going to talk today about something that I'm constantly seeing, and I'm going to make some talking points here as to why you don't see me post certain things on social media, or why I post certain things on social media when it comes to exactly, quote unquote, what you should be doing. And so let's start with some questions that I often get, whether it's in DMs or on my posts and comments that people leave, things like that. And these are very generic questions. And it's very difficult sometimes to answer these questions because they're so generic. And when I talk about the fact that we are all on our own journey, we're all in our own space, we are doing our own thing, we are showing up in our own way, we need different things, not cookie cutter programs or meal plans or all these things, I really mean it. And so when I get questions like, how long does it take you to lose weight? One specific one that I saw in a group specifically was, I'm 5'6" and X amount of pounds. What do you look like at 5'6" and X amount of pounds? Well, how much muscle mass do you have? And how much, there's so many more questions. It's such a nuanced answer that to answer this very generically doesn't make sense. But how long does it take you to lose weight? How many days a week do you train? How much protein do you eat? What do you eat in a day? What's your calorie deficit? What time do you train? Do you do cardio and strength training? What do you do first? What does your meal prep look like? It goes on and on and on and on. And the problem with these questions is they're not about me, or is that they are about me. And they shouldn't be about me. If you're asking about yourself, right? If you're asking what I do and what worked for me, what my numbers are, none of that matters. None of that is going to help you because you're not me. What worked for me might not work for you. And honestly, probably won't. I mean, the same premise and method will work for you, but within that method, the details are going to be very different, right? All of my clients go through the diet dropout method. None of them have the same things. I was just talking about this in Ladies Lift Club. One of my group coaching members is also in Ladies Lift Club. And we were talking about that the other day about, it's like one of the other ladies was asking this very generic question, which was fine. But I'm like, well, I can't tell you that because it's like everybody gets different stuff. And so I even went to this other person, ask her what she does. Is it similar? Do we have the same thing going? Yeah, but hers is specific to her story, her problems, her struggles, what she needs to navigate. It has nothing to do with anybody else, even though the method that we're using is the same method, okay? But we have to remember that what works for me might not work for you, might not work for Susie, might not work for Jill. Who knows, right? What I eat may not be what you like to eat. I'm a pretty actually picky eater. So we have that going for me, okay? My timeline might not be your timeline. My hardships in my life might not be your hardships. I have 17-year-old children. Maybe you have a 2-year-old. We are not the same. What works for me, because I have 17-year-olds who are self-sufficient, is not going to work for you at 2. It's not going to work, right? We have to figure that. So asking the questions doesn't actually help you. It just gives you information about how I did it. And then what you do with that information is you try to copy it. Oh, I lost 80 pounds in 18 months. You can do that. I train 4 times a week. You should do that. I eat X amount of protein. You should do that. And then it doesn't work. And then you're like, what the hell? I thought this was what I was supposed to do to get it to work, right? And the reason that these generic questions don't work is because they're very surface level and they're not specific to your experiences. Okay. So just because I lose 80 pounds in X amount of time doesn't mean that you should lose 80 pounds in X amount of time. Maybe you have more weight to lose. Maybe you have less. Maybe you have less muscle. Maybe your start point is completely different than my start point. Maybe your lifestyle is different. Maybe we have to build things differently for you. Your timeline and my timeline are not the same. Your protein intake and my protein intake might not be the same, right? And copying doesn't work because it's not for you. So this is very similar when I talk about running a business. A lot of people will just imitate what other people do online. And you could get like an idea or a general method or look at something and be like, oh, I could emulate that and I could apply it differently. But like when you just go and copy other people online, it looks really bad. They're like, man, I've seen that before. Or man, so-and-so took that from so-and-so. It looks really bad because you're not the same people. And oftentimes it doesn't even hit the same way, right? And to be honest, I understand because I once was in the situation where I was like, if somebody just tells me what I'm supposed to do, or if I can just do what so-and-so's doing, right? I get that, right? You're looking for a roadmap or directions or, for these XYZ steps, do this, and then you'll get this. And that feels safe for you because now somebody's telling you what to do. It feels like, okay, if I follow and copy what that person eats in a day or how much protein they eat or how they're trained or their workout, I'm going to be guaranteed to get XYZ. If I can do what Sarah did, I'll get Sarah's results. But that's not how it works because this is not a one size fits all. This is definitely not cookie cutter. There is no guarantee. There is no exact roadmap because everybody is different. Your start point is different. Your diet history is different. Your training history is different. Your lifestyle is different. Capacity is different. Everything is different. So what works for me, it might not work for you. Okay. So what should we be asking instead of what are you doing? How are you doing this? Okay. Things like instead of how long did it take you to lose weight, maybe we should be going or asking ourselves, how do I figure out a realistic timeline for myself? Instead of maybe how much protein are you consuming? Like, how do I calculate? How do I know how much I'm supposed to consume? How much do you consume? 125 grams. That's what I'm set to right now. Cool. How do I know what I need? How do I know how to calculate what I need for me? We're actually doing that right now in the Diet Dropout Club. You can join. We are doing a macros challenge for the next 2 weeks. Join us. You're going to learn. Okay. What do you eat in a day? How about like, what foods do I enjoy eating and what work in my lifestyle with my timeline? Right? Like, do you see how these are different? Like these are not the same questions. The first set of questions all about copying me. The second set of questions about what do I need to learn about myself? What do I need to learn about me? Right? So one time I had, this is like my biggest pet peeve on the internet right now, but I had a lady be like, she sent me a message on Instagram. What do you eat in a day? I was like, why do you want to know what I eat in a day? Well, I just want to see what a healthy day of eating looks like. Okay. But my day of eating might not be a healthy day of eating to you, right? It might look a little bit different. I eat lots of protein. I eat a ton of carbs, simple meals, full complete meals with some snacks in between. And that's what works for me. But maybe you need more carbs, or maybe you like more variety, or maybe you're like, oh, I don't like X. I don't like chicken, or I can't have whatever, insert this thing. Maybe you have like different food preferences, right? So my day of eating doesn't actually tell you what your day of eating should look like. So she was like, but I just want an example. I just want you to kind of show me. And I was like, and I get that. But the problem is, if I give you this example, you're going to try to emulate it. You're going to try to copy it. And when that doesn't work, you're going to be like, oh, Sarah's so wrong. She doesn't know what she's talking about. No. Or the other element of is I'm broken. Like if this worked for her, why isn't it working for me? And as I said, the whole what you eat in a day for me personally is like, it's one of my biggest pet peeves right now. It's, I've seen what fat people eat in a day, what healthy people eat in a day. Here's what I eat in a day on a 2,000 calorie diet. Here's what I eat in a day, as a triathlon marathon runner, whatever. Like it's all over the place. And I get why people watch them because it's like interesting to see what are other people actually eating. Maybe it's like, hey, I could get an idea for a meal, right? You want to know what healthy eating looks like. So you're going to watch this person who says, hey, what I eat in a day, healthy version, clean version. What I eat in a day is a clean eater. Buzzword, right? But then you watch these videos, you're like, okay, she eats oatmeal for breakfast, salad for lunch, chicken and veg for dinner. I should do that too. So then you try to eat that way and it might work for a little bit, might not work at all. And you're like, I hate oatmeal. Salad is so boring. Or like, I'm so sick of chicken, right? And then you're like, done. Like, I don't know how she eats that every day. Here's what I'm also tell you. Half those bitches don't put what they actually eat in a day. That's number one. Okay. So I'm just going to put that out there, right? A lot of what you see on social media is not real anyways. So you need to take that into consideration. Okay. So you don't need to eat like that person. So I will post a meal that I consume. I will put the macros with that, but I rarely ever, I've never even done a what I eat in a day video. I don't think if you could scroll back for the 5 years that I've been doing this, that you would ever see that, because I just don't believe in it. I'm not buying into that. A lot of people do it because it's clickbait and people know people like to watch them. Like, I have been in containers where people are like, do a what I eat in the day, do a what I eat in the day of the life of a whatever. I don't like that because it's just not me. And what you need is not what I need. So anyway, so back to why the generic questions don't, like, the biggest issue with the generic questions is they're not teaching you anything, right? It's not teaching you what you like and enjoy. It's not teaching you how much protein you actually need. It's not teaching you when you need to train and what feels good for you. It's not teaching you how to build a plan around your own lifestyle, right? Figuring out what works for you actually does take time, effort, and energy. And it's hard. It's work. It's unfun. It's not sexy. Okay. It's a lot easier just to say, I'll just do what that person's doing. This is why I highly hate when people just copy people's workouts. Oh, here's my lower leg day booty pump, blah, blah, blah. Woof. You don't need a booty pump more than likely. If you've never worked in the gym, you need to have a very basic beginner strength training program with progressively overloading, learning mind muscle connection first. But hey, that booty pump program sounds so great. That's what I want. Right. And then it's just like, man, this is awful. So let's talk about some questions we should be asking. Let's give some bigger, broader, not broader examples, but like a bigger range of an example, right? So instead of like asking somebody, hey, how long did it take you to lose your weight? What is a realistic timeline for me based on the weight that I need to lose? What pace of weight loss can I sustain without wanting to spoon out my eye? What is my actual maintenance? Where am I starting at? Okay. These are questions that are far more important and applicable to your own self to help you get your jump point. Okay. Instead of how much protein do you eat in a day? How do I calculate my protein I need for my body? What protein sources do I like and enjoy to eat? What are 5 sources of protein that I could name right now that I know are protein, not a fat, not a carb? I'm not talking about peanut butter. What protein sources do I actually enjoy to eat? Okay. How can I realistically get more protein in my day? Not somebody else's day, but my day. Okay, instead of what do you eat in a day, how about you ask yourself, what foods do I enjoy? Outside of protein, what else do I like to eat? What else do I enjoy eating? Because I'm going to tell you this, you're not making it out of this without eating foods that you like and enjoy. There will be a point in time where it's like, you will have to sacrifice something, but we don't have to sacrifice everything. We don't have to do that. Last night for Mother's Day, we had pasta salad. I did grilled chicken. We did mac and cheese. There was broccoli, corn, and chocolate chip cookies because everybody's banging on these chocolate chip cookies that I made. Okay. These are all foods that I like and enjoy. I was able to eat all of those foods. I didn't hold back or feel like I was missing out or anything like that. Right. So what foods do I actually enjoy? How about what foods do I notice keep me satisfied? If I notice that I eat this, but in 22 minutes, I'm hungry and ready to spoon my eye out again because I'm starved, what does that look like? Okay, so maybe this food, or how do I change that food? Can I pair it with something else? Can I eat more of it? Stop asking about what I eat. What can you do to change your stuff, right? And then what actually fits in my lifestyle and schedule for my food in a day? How does this look for me? Do I need a meal prep? Do I need an ingredient prep? Do I need to at least have the ingredients in my home? Do I need to just have my dinners planned out, my lunches planned out, my breakfast planned out? Like, what keeps me on track? Okay. And then for like training, like how many days, instead of like how many days do you work out, how many days can I realistically commit to training? Before I went into group coaching with a VIP upgrade and everybody went through my one-on-one program, that was one of the questions. How many days a week can you actually commit to training? How many days? Because if you tell me that you can commit 5 days a week, but right now you can't even get there for 1 day a week consistently, the likelihood is not 5. So you have to be honest about this, right? What is sustainable for me long-term? And what do I enjoy doing when I am training? Okay. These questions are about you focused. They are you centered, not me centered, not copying somebody else's shit. Okay. So just like everything else, this is a skill. It takes time. You have to learn what works for you. And this is something that most women have not yet done. We have not figured out what works for me because we've bought into every program. We're told by Weight Watchers. We're told by Optavia. We're told by everybody what exactly to do. So you don't know what works for you. And that is a skill. That is a skill that you have to build, right? Because once you understand what works for you, you don't have to copy anybody else, right? You don't have to ask what you eat because you already know what to eat. You already know what you like and enjoy. Okay. You don't have to ask somebody, how many days a week do you train? Because you already know how many days a week do I train? What makes sense for me, right? You have your own answers because you did the work to figure it out. And that is what makes it sustainable. But it also, again, it's a skill. And I understand where this can be frustrating because it's like, I just have to lose this weight. I have to lose it right now. I have to figure this out today. I have to do this because you want that quick answer. You want someone just to say, do this. Don't do this. But I'm not in that game. I don't play that game with people, right? Only you can figure that out. That's a lot of what we do in group coaching and even in the Diet Dropout Club is learning what does work for me. How do I understand what works for me? This takes time. It takes learning like, oh shit, that didn't actually work. Thought it might, did not. Right? You have to pay attention to that. Okay. And that's what builds that skill that we don't have yet. And that's okay. Because again, we've lived in a society that has just always said, do this, don't do that when it comes to weight loss and fat loss and being healthy. Okay. So the next time you get the urge to go into somebody's DMs or comment on somebody's post, what do I need to do? Or what do you do? Or how do you do this? I want you to pause and I want you to say, what do I need? And you could even say, hey, I noticed that you eat XYZ or you do this, blah, 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 blah. How do I do that? Can you teach me how I'm supposed to do that? What does that look like for me? Not you, but for me, right? We have to start figuring out what works for your life, for your body, for your capacity, not for somebody else's. And that is a skill, okay? So we are 10 days into May right now. I'm doing my accountability challenge, and I'm going to say this is technically the 11th day here, and I'm averaging down about a half a pound right now for the month, which is right on par, right on track. Very happy with it. Because again, more so than the weight itself, I'm just being consistent. I'm being very, very, very consistent, which I'm very excited and proud of myself for. So, if you have questions around what should I be doing? How much should I be training? What should I be eating? How much protein do I need for yourself? That's what the Diet Dropout Club is for. And again, we are doing that macros challenge where it's not like a, hey, make sure you hit every single number. It's learning out how to track your macros. It's learning what do you need? Not what do I need? And then based on that, it's like, okay, I'm struggling with this piece of it. Cool. Then I can coach you through that, which is the coolest part about it. So this is a little bit more of an interactive challenge. This is not just like a drink your water or make sure you hit your protein, carbs, and fats. That is not what this is. This is more interactive. I'm going to be in there with videos and voice notes and things like that. Not just, hey, do this thing. Okay. Hey, do this thing. And I want your feedback. I want your participation. I want to know what you're doing, what's working, what's hard, where you're struggling, what skill set you are underdeveloped and where you're doing really well with. Okay. So, understanding that is going to be essentially very important. So outside of that, you guys, I hope you have a great rest of the week. Hopefully the weather, it's supposed to start ticking a little bit more consistent, but we're still having some freeze warnings here in Michigan, which I'm kind of over personally, but it is what it is. Welcome to the great state of the Michigan. So I will catch you guys on the next episode.